Shalom. Today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of the Greco-Roman connection. That's part 2 of the Greco-Roman connection. Alright, I'll be starting out with the book of Esther, chapter 3, verse 1. After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. Okay, so in this verse we see that Haman the Agagite was advanced by the Persians. Now I'm going to make the connection showing you that Haman was indeed a Macedonian. Well, we're going to also see that he was an Edomite. So you'll be able to see that Edomites are Macedonians. All right, the next verse is going to be the book of Esther, the additions to Esther, chapter 16. This is found in the Apocrypha. And we're going to pick up at verse 10. For Ammon or Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Hammedatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood, and far distant from our goodness, as a stranger received us. All right, you're going to go down to verse 14. You'll see that. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persians over to the Macedonians. All right, so here we see that Haman, in verse 10, identified as a Macedonian. This is again in the additions to Esther, chapter 16, verse 10. He is identified as a Macedonian. And by these means he thought of finding us, which would be the Israelites, destitute of friends, and having translated the kingdom of the Persians over to the Macedonians. So it says that Haman was a Macedonian and an Edomite. So that's the connection between Esther chapter 3, where it says that Haman was an Agagite, and you know that Agag was the king of the Amalekites. You can find that story in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 1 through 2. So that's the connection there between Haman being recognized as an Agagite and as an Amalekite and as a Macedonian. That's the connection. All right, so again, we're going to be talking about the Greco-Roman connection. I'm going to make the connection showing that the Greeks, the so-called Greeks, who are really the Macedonians, are in actually the kinsmen of these Romans, their brethren. All right, so I'm first going to start out here with the founding of the 10 kingdoms that made up the Roman Empire. So in the first part, I kind of went over that the 10 kingdoms that was found in the book of Daniel was made up of those particular nations that made up that Roman Empire. All right, so now I'm going to touch on historian. There was a Roman historian, and his name was Virgil, and he was commissioned to write the Aeneid. Okay. All right, so the founding of the 10 kingdoms that made up the Roman Empire in 776 BC by Romulus and Remus. All right, let me show you a pic of Romulus and Remus. Okay, this is the picture showing Romulus and Remus being suckled by the she-wolf. And this is a picture showing the bloody history of the founding of Rome. So this is Romulus and Remus being again suckled by the she-wolf. All right, and so we're going back to Virgil. Now this particular historian, Virgil, who wrote that work, the Aeneid, circa 20 BC, He was commissioned by the Roman Emperor Augustus. And let me get you a pic of that Roman Emperor Augustus, the Edomite. So this guy, Virgil, was commissioned by that Roman Emperor Augustus to write the history of Rome and how it was founded by immigrants from the kingdom of Troy, who were called the Trojans. All right, so let me get you a little picture of Troy, the Trojan War. So the Trojan War was a war that took place in Asia Minor, in the region that we call today Turkey. And this took place in the year circa 1250 BC. All right, so the kingdom of Troy, who were called Trojans, the first Trojan was named King Teucer. All right, and I got a picture of this particular King Teucer. All right, this is a picture of this first Trojan that founded the city of Troy. His name is King Teucer. This took place circa 1400 BC. Now, this particular individual, he sailed with some people from Chittim or Crete to Troy, which is also called Pergama, to found the city of Troy. All right, so let me get you some pictures of Pergamum. All right, so we know in the book of Revelations it mentions Pergama. And these are some of the gods that were on this particular temple that was built in the city of Pergama. All right, so let me get Revelations right quick. All right, Revelations chapter 2, verses 12 through 13. And to the angel of the church in Pergamos write, these things saith he which hath a sharp sword with two edges. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name. All right, so here we see that is brought out that Satan had his seat in the city of Pergamos. And the reason that he had his seat in the city of Pergamos is because these Macedonians, they built this temple there. Now what you're looking at here, there's a temple in Pergamum, which is called the altar of Zeus. And this is the altar of Zeus. And again, they have images of gods on this altar. And we have the picture of Zeus himself. And right beneath Zeus, there is the eagle, which is one of his zoo types, or an image that Zeus could transform himself into, that he was known, that represented the god Zeus. And also this particular eagle here is connected to many scriptures in describing the Edomites. And the Edomites also had a god that was an eagle, and his name was Kos, and it was an eagle god. And we know that the scripture makes reference to the Edomites and the eagle. Okay, so we've seen that Revelation calls Pergamum the seat of Satan. So that implies that Zeus, who is the god of Pergamum, is the image of Satan himself, who looks like the image given to us as Jesus Christ. All right, so we see a picture of so-called Jesus Christ, who is really an image of Caesar Borgia. And these were just different white men or Edomite men that tried to represent themselves as God. So this Jesus was Caesar Borgia. And before him, like I said, we had Zeus. They all looked the same, a Caucasian or Edomite with long hair and a beard. So this is how they pictured their God, these Edomites, which were Macedonians, which were Romans, So they just use name. They change up the names to try to confuse you, to get you to think that Edomites don't exist anymore. But they just immigrated into different countries, and they conquered different places, and they changed their names. So that's where the discrepancy arises. All right, so now I'm going to go back to Teucer, the king that discovered Troy. All right, so this is the king, King Teucer, who discovered Troy, or founded Troy. Or we have the works of the Greek historian Homer in his book, Part 2, references 848 through 850, which says that the Paeonians, who were a tribe that inhabited many parts of Macedonia, were Trojan allies, and Turkian colonists. All right, so these Paeonians, these people that called themselves Paeonians back in the day, they were Turkian colonists who descended from King Teucer, the founder of Troy. All right, so this particular individual who came from the island of Crete, Homer says, this was an ancient Greek historian, circa 700 BC. And he documents that the Paeonians were ancient Macedonians. He makes that link to the Turkians and the ancient Macedonians. They said that the Paeonians occupied many parts of Macedonia, and they were Trojan allies and Turkian colonists who descended from King Teucer, the founder of Troy. When Troy was destroyed in 1250 BC, Aeneas and a group of his followers immigrated to Italy and founded Alba Longa. And this was founded in 1151 BC. And eventually, his descendants went on to found Rome. All right, so we see that the Trojan immigrants, they immigrated from Troy to Italy, and they founded Alba Longa, which was situated in central Italy. And this was in 1151 BC. And eventually in 776 BC, they ended up founding Rome. And Rome was founded by the Romulus, who was one of two twins that killed his brother, which was named Remus, in a power struggle. All right, so again, we have the history of Romulus and Remus, and how that Rome was founded on blood, because the two brothers fought with each other for the dominion of who would be in charge of Rome, and Romulus ended up killing his brother Remus. And that was the establishment of the Roman Empire. Okay. Then we see that the kinsmen of the Macedonian Edomites that established Rome in 776 BC re-established Pergamum in 282 BC. These were Seleucid Macedonians that rebuilt Pergamum, and the Macedonian Eumenes II that built the altar of Zeus in circa 181 BC. So that is a full circle showing you that the Macedonians fled from the destruction of Troy. They immigrated into Italy. They founded Rome. And then we had some other Macedonians that immigrated back into Troy or Pergama and reestablished that particular city and rebuilt it, and they created the altar of Zeus, which Revelations said is the seat of Satan. So that is the connection of the Romans and the Greeks. Shalom.